everyone, and welcome back to another JC TeaTalks podcast.
Today we will be talking about our experiences with COVID-19.
This is our first video with a special guest.
Special guest, please reveal yourself.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm a baker and tea drinker.
That is awesome, and everyone please subscribe to our channel and like this video.
Now on to the podcast.
So now onto the podcast part of our podcast. We're going to be starting off with wearing masks. So Julia, our special guest, is going to start off with her experience wearing masks. Julia?
So my family did not in time buy masks, so we ended up making masks. So here is some stand-ins here. These are 2 child-sized masks that my mom and I have made. I don't mind masks that much, but I do know that a lot of people do, but I don't mind it. And I mean, it's not super awful, but it can be annoying, but that's about my experience. I don't really have any other issue.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. I don't have very many issues. The only issue I have is I actually have 2 issues, is recognizing people in public and not being able to see the emotions on people's faces. So I actually once saw a guy at the store, and I thought he was my soccer coach, and I yelled over to him, he looked back, and I felt super awkward. And it was one of just those funny moments, and I felt like I just feel like I wanted to crumble and just go into the corner and cry.
I've had something
I had one experience like that because when I play basketball, my coaches have to wear masks. So I have 2 coaches that look very similar. And I practiced with the wrong team at one point. I practiced with the wrong team because I thought it was my coach, but it was another coach.
Yeah, that happens, right? It's just the mix-up between recognizing people, and you also can't, not only can you not recognize them, you can't see their emotions. So if they're talking to you, and you can see how I'm talking, and if I make my mouth go lower, I can pretend like I'm sad, I can smile, and pretend, you can tell I'm happy. So it's that emotion that you can't see with masks anymore, and one of the things that are actually getting into the U.S. is wearing face visors and glasses, because masks don't protect 100%, because COVID-19 droplets can get in your eyes, and that's one of the things that can infect you. And now people are wearing glasses or visors, and that now you can't even see their entire face clearly at all anymore, and that's very hard for me. I did not have the privilege of getting able to make masks. I'm not a very good sewer. I just got masked. My grandma is actually very good. She's a great sewer. So, and she got to make probably 50, and she made them for our entire family, and it was great. So that was very, very cool. And Callum,
I made about.
So my mom is friends with a couple people that can make masks, and she reached out to them. So we got a couple masks. But my dad also for his work, he has to travel a lot, and his company sent him some masks and stuff, because he has to go to places like New York or Boston or Chicago, big high risk areas. So they sent him some masks and stuff like that. So we have some of those masks too. Back to the one where you thought you saw your soccer coach question. Not question. But have you ever had that where you are in a big crowd and you see somebody that you think is your parents, and you're like, "Hey, Dad. Hey, Mom." They're like a stranger.
It's not them. That never happened to me, but
Yeah, once at baseball, I thought that was my dad. I was like, "Hey, Dad, what are we gonna eat tonight?"
I have definitely almost gotten in the wrong car at basketball because my mom was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And also about masks, the only thing about masks that is a little bit weird for me is, I feel like, when you go somewhere before COVID, when not wearing a mask was a thing, when you would go somewhere and I guess you were you were in some sort of weird
That was-
costume or something. And when you went into that place, you kind of felt, maybe you felt a little awkward. Maybe you were like before a sports game and you were in your uniform, you know? And maybe that's how some people feel about wearing a mask. Feel like nobody's going to look like this. I'm just going to be that weird person. And once I kind of felt like that before we went into summer, but like everyone wears a mask.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things that Americans have done, and in other countries, it's people have personalized their masks to their own way, because people just don't want to have the plain classic mask. They want to have the other kinds of masks. If you've ever been to Chick-fil-A, they have their own cow masks, and everybody has their own. So you can use different fabrics. So Julia, as you see your blue mask, if you want to show that. So
My whole family. Oh, here's my masks again. But my family forced me to make them Harry Potter and Marvel masks, so we also have a set of those.
yeah, so you can personalize them as much as you want. So that is another fashion piece that people have today, and it's very, very neat. And that's one of the good things about masks, because people can show off, and you can do pretty much whatever you want with masks. And I did see a video of people putting makeup over it so they look like there is no mask, but people can put sparkles and anything that they want. I have my own pink sparkly unicorn mask that I love to wear. I'm just kidding. But right, but you can have any kind of mask, and they're all on the market. And Callum, I wanted to add something. So you said that your dad travels, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I'm guessing that he travels on airplanes, and airplanes are one of the things that right now are focusing on cleaning, and they're reopening. So I know American Airlines this week has reopened all their airlines to no social distancing, but Delta, JetBlue, they have these care packages, which mask, bars, snacks, that they give the people just to disinfect everything, and you have to steam the airplane. You have to make sure that there's no virus remnants at all, so it
Yes.
doesn't transmit. So, Callum, did you have anything to add to that?
Yes. So yeah, sometimes he rides on planes, and I saw this story about this maybe like 60 to 70-year-old woman, and she went on an airplane, and she was the only person on that airplane, and she got first class for like the amount that she got. She got to like right up close with all the people. She got to like see like the front of the plane, meet the pilots, and all that stuff, because she was the only person on the plane. And yeah, so I know like a lot of people, like I saw this video of like the busiest airport in America, and there was only like one person that walked by the whole time. And
Yeah,
because like all the stores inside of the airplanes are closed, the only thing is like, you know, that the stuff that you have to do before you get on the plane.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. So there are travel restrictions, and there are much a lower amount of people traveling nowadays because of how COVID-19 can spread so easily. And on airplanes, how they have every middle seat is blocked, and they take these special precautions, but also family members. So there's been multiple family birthdays or funerals where the COVID-19 has transmitted, and one person has it, and 50 people can get it from that. And we wanted to say from the JCT Talks, please be careful traveling, and please keep social distancing measures. This is a serious thing. It's still around. There are cases adding every single day. If you need to go to the store, then please wear a mask and follow all guidelines that your state requires. So we had to add that. Cam, you have something to add?
Yes, something about masks too is how schools, I heard that schools are going to be opening up next year, but there's a requirement to wear a mask. And I feel like that's going to be very weird, because like you said, the facial impressions, you know, what if your teacher's mad at you? I can't really see that.
You won't be able to tell.
Yeah, you won't be able to tell. And then like you might not even recognize some of your friends. But also, like, think about all the creative masks that people are going to bring, because I know one of my friends is, like, getting, like, some really cool, like, mountain and, like, forest masks.
Yeah, so that is one of the things with schooling, is also we will have a topic on that in the future, most likely, because they will reopen. Right now, we're in summer break for most schools. They do have all year round schools that are off right now because of the COVID-19. But schools have, there's different guidelines that counties and cities are going through. So some counties are going all virtually, some counties are going one day in, another day not going to school. So every schools don't have the
Partial.
spread. And one of the things that schools have is around, the average of schools is about 1,000. I know that there's some schools that are much higher, colleges and preschools are much lower. And one of the things that they have is there can be even more people, but on these days where it's okay, on odd days you go into school, on even days another group of kids go to school. So that would happen
Yeah.
normally, and with as multiple schools are saying we can't have 1,000 kids in class, because so they have to split the groups up, so 500 one day, 500 the next day, so you can keep that social distancing guidelines. So Callum or Julia, do you have anything to add, or should we go on to our next topic?
Julia, do you have anything to add?
I do have one thing to add. Especially in classes, teachers, if they do go back full whelm, the CDC is saying the desks have to be 6 feet apart and facing all the same way, which is going to be pretty difficult because most classrooms are very small, and even with the mask wearing, they would still need to be 6 feet apart, and the classrooms are way too small for that. And the CDC, I've noticed, just doesn't get that.
Yes, and what could happen is if schools have a really big cafeteria, what they could do is they could have a class in the cafeteria at a time,
Yeah.
or the auditorium, or the
And
gym.
schools have to, one of the things that parents are arguing about is schools have to restart, because most families, they have the parents or parent working a full-time job, and they can't sit around all day homeschooling their child. So
Yeah.
some people are fortunate enough to be able to homeschool their children, but some others can't find childcare. So they have to send them to school because they can't just have them sitting inside all day, or else the parents would have to quit their job or do another way, because schools, if they aren't open, that's childcare gone. So I know childcare places are reopening in states, so that's very good. But hopefully by the beginning of school year, COVID-19 will have gone away, or there is a vaccine found. But the multiple companies have closed since to the new year, but hopefully that a vaccine is found by then. I will end the wearing masks topic, and then let's go on to sports. We're on to our sports topic. So we did talk about sports 2 weeks ago, but sports have definitely changed recently. And it's not just sports reopening, it is also how sports has affected us and how the cancellations has affected us. So Julia, I bet that you have definitely had changes to your sports since you are a basketball player.
Yes, I am a basketball player. I play competitively for Pro Skills Richmond. We had practice for about 4 weeks outside in the parking lot, which was awful, not to say the least. But we are luckily back in the gym, which is good, but we still have to abide by social distancing, and we can't share basketballs or touch each other's basketballs at all, and we still have to be 6 feet apart the entire time.
Yeah, so that's very interesting because that really relates to all sports, and I bet Callum has the same relation with baseball. So all of us play different sports. I play two. I believe Callum and Julia both play one. And
I did play hockey at one point,
oh yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
going to play this winter.
that's awesome. Yeah, hockey. I've always wanted to play hockey since it's so interesting. But the two sports I play is golf and soccer. I don't play golf competitively, but I play soccer competitively. And soccer, everybody has to have their own ball, and it's interesting, and it's very hard. And in golf, you have to have your own golf balls. And I'm a golf ball collector, and I still go into the woods and grab all the balls, but I always make sure they're washed and bleached after I collect them. So, and I actually just did a collections merit badge with Boy Scouts, and online virtually, and I talked about how I collect golf balls. And one of the things that are an actual job is golf ball divers, and that's people that scuba dive in the lakes at golf courses, and they collect the golf balls. And it's very interesting because they actually can make between $500 and $900 per load that they find in a lake, because so many golfers hit their golf balls into that lake. So that is how soccer and golf has changed. Callum, I have a feeling that you have something to do with baseball and some with hockey. Would you like to add anything?
Yes. So I know in baseball now, there can only be 2 people in the dugout, and that's normally that's like so it doesn't count like the people on deck. So like the bleachers are cut off, so they only want 2 people in the dugout. And at one point they wanted everyone to, when they're like in the dugout, to wear a mask, but then that, I don't know, that just never happened. So I don't know. Like our coach, like everyone has to wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask when you're in the dugout, you will be kicked off the team. And then like nobody cared, and not nobody literally wore a mask, not even on the other team. And so yeah, that's definitely happened. And the 6, and like they want us, so like normally when you're at that like at the end of the game, you're like, you know, kind of like doing like I forget what it's called because it's been so long, but instead of that, you just tip your hat to the other team, and they want us to stand about 6 feet apart from each other when we do that too. So that's how it's kind of affected the baseball world in my state. Yes, Jake?
Yes, so a very interesting part with all sports. And if you would like to hear more of Callum and I talk about sports, Julia was not a special guest on our sports episode last time, but Callum and I did talk about how sports are reopening in the U.S. and in the entire world. And we talked about baseball, soccer, golf, different sports. So if you can go check that out, we did that video 2 weeks ago, and that was our first ever podcast. One of my favorites. And this is going to be a great one because not only do we have a special guest, we also get to talk about all of our experiences. So I believe that finishes up on sports. Does anybody have anything to add? Julia?
In professional aspects, I have heard that hockey and baseball are going to start very soon. So the internet never lies.
Yes, I heard about that. So I heard that spring training has opened for baseball. I've watched a couple live streams of people in spring training. I know like facilities are open or just out and about. I guess it's technically not spring training and more summer training, but it's going to be a very short season. They're going to try to fit in as much games as they can. That's like in my league, you normally have 2 games a week, but we're doing 3 games a week. And that's going to be a similar schedule to that in professional. I think that in professional, they play about 3 games a week. They're probably going to play more like 5 or 4 a week.
Yes, so Callum, I had some to add. Professional sports are getting back, and golf. So with sports reopening, golf has actually added fans now, so people can go and watch different events and tournaments. So these are happening. The Women's Pro League and the Men's Pro League are both, fans can go and enjoy the game, and it's broadcasted on CNBC and different sports channels, and you can watch them. They're very interesting to watch. I would recommend golf as a sport. It's very fun at the beginning. It is definitely stressful, but it gets very, very fun. So I believe that that'll end our sports topic. So now we will go to our next topic. Our next topic is on quarantine and how it has affected all of us and staying inside. And we have hit 3 months now. We're at 109 days, I believe we're at right now. And Julia, did you want to talk about your experience with the quarantine from COVID-19?
Yes, I would love to. So my experience has been kind of weird, not gonna lie. I'm in for school. I had a lot of trouble because I have special accommodations and things, so I didn't get those special accommodations since it was online learning, which was a fun time. But everything else has been pretty not normal, but like not like out of place, I guess, because like I understand there's a pandemic, we gotta stay inside and whatever. But it's been okay. There's not much going on in my house. Both my parents are working from home.
My mom is fortunate enough to be able to work from home also, like your parents. But other families do have to go into work, and that's why they have these special measures. But with quarantine, I remember a time when I was stuck inside for 3 months. So, well, not 3 months, 3 weeks. 3 months would be crazy. I hadn't gone to any stores. I haven't gone to any public things for 3 weeks at one time. But now, since sports have started, I have more things to do outside, and that's a lot of fun. So, and quarantine has really affected everybody because not only does it affect your work, it affects your everyday life, your schedule, what you do inside. And one of the main things that has affected Americans and people around the world is their sleep schedule. And I know Julia has a lot to talk about during this. So, the video game increase has gone up, and the sleep schedule is very hard for people to adapt because your schedule has most likely been wiped out, and it is very hard, so you're staying up until like 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. So my guess is that Julia has stuff to add to the sleep schedule, those types of things. So Julia, let's talk about sleep schedule.
All right, so mine is messed up to the nines. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Phew. So last night I was up until 4:30, and Jake woke me up at 2:30 when the podcast needed to start. So that's yeah, that's a normal day. Kind of sad, not gonna lie, but it's bad.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with people because technology is so advanced now. So COVID-19 has been the largest quarantine since the swine flu in India. So it's been the largest one since the Spanish flu that affected America the most. And during that quarantine, there was no advanced technology like iPhones, iPads, Netflix. None of those were around. So now people are able to stay up till 3 in the morning watching Netflix or different YouTube videos. Then it was okay, go to bed at the same time, you're stuck inside. But now it's there's all these things that you have access to and board games and different games that people just stay up playing because there's no major schedule. There's some Americans still on their usual schedules, but it's these schedules that have changed. So it's I gotta wake up at noon, so it's okay, I'll just stay up until 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning playing games. So video games has also been one of the things that affected teens. So people stay up till 4 in the morning playing video games during the quarantine because teens are one of the age groups that don't have a schedule as much because that's pretty much the time in life where you aren't working a job and you don't have major schooling or anything to do. So that's where video games comes majorly in life. Callum, I know that you want to add things to quarantine and sleep. Did you want to have your part in adding?
Yes. So where I live, we have very long winters, and we don't really go much places during those. And COVID kind of COVID was kind of during the winter. I mean, we still had snow when quarantine was happening, so it wasn't really that much an adjustment as it was to other people. So I was kind of on a sleep schedule, and because I was already in that winter theme from since like December, I kind of had my same sleep schedule, which is really good. And I'm getting some good sleep. Sometimes I'll sleep in the morning, but not too much. And so I haven't really been on such a bad sleep schedule, I think. But I know that sleep, I used to be an awful sleep schedule.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have the best sleep schedule now, but I used to be on a very good sleep schedule. I'm getting better at my sleep schedule because it's going back to life sometimes. So it's things are reopening. So one of the things that I've also been affected in quarantine is the snacks that people are eating and the food. So it used to be all these restaurants were open, you could go anywhere. There was different foods that you could choose from. There was more options at grocery stores, so toilet paper shortages and different meat shortages at stores. Flour shortages is one of the major things that I would like to talk about. So these different food shortages has affected people's and how they eat. So with flour at the store, I remember going to the store and there was no meat at all, no eggs at all, no flour at all, and it surprised me because the bread aisle was completely full, and I had the most surprise about that because most people don't like to bake bread, and there's some people because most people don't know how to cook. And if you didn't know this, I was on Chop Junior a year ago, and it was very interesting, and I had a lot of fun doing it. But I was told there's not very many people that know how to cook. So, but I know Julia is a very good baker, so I know that she would like to talk more. And Julia, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I every summer go to a baking camp of sorts. And last summer I went to a French pastry camp, so I've been baking a lot and trying to practice my skills. And we had to get flour a few weeks ago, and we ended up having to get a 6 or 7 pound bag instead of like the normal 4 or 5 pound because they were out of everything smaller than that. And we have it routine, so yeah. And a lot of my recipes, like my bubble waffles or my pancakes, take a lot of flour. And when we ran out in like the middle of quarantine, it was awful because I knew they weren't gonna have any anywhere except for at Costco. You could buy like 18, I think, pound bags. I was like, oh no, I don't want that. Like that's a lot of flour.
Yeah,
I'm
you'd
like,
have to. Yeah, you'd have to bake every single day if you had that flour, like every single meal. And for snack, you'd have to have bowls of flour. So you just eat the flour right out of the bowl. Just a delicious snack. So, Callum would definitely like to add about food. So, Callum.
Food is definitely
oh,
different. I know I haven't been in a grocery store actually since quarantine, so I haven't been in a grocery store in like maybe 5 months because so I haven't been in one in a while. But I know so I haven't really seen that. And I know like my brother once went with my dad to the grocery store, and he was like, "Whoa, it's so weird seeing all the toilet paper gone." I remember once, actually, kind of a funny story. We were in a grocery, actually no, 4 months or 3 months, because once I was in the grocery store with my mom and dad, and this was like a week before quarantine, and there was this big aisle of toilet paper, and my mom was like, "Do we need any toilet paper?" And my dad was like, "Oh no, we're good." And then and it was like a whole filled. I mean, you never see the toilet paper aisle gone. But meats I know have been very bad. But my dad makes turkey burgers every once in a while, and that's always nice to have. Um, but I mean, the 4th of July is coming up. I mean, that's in like 3 days. Um, and that's going to be good. But I know fireworks are probably not going to be that big unless you own them. And I know that like campfires and fireworks are not allowed right now because the ground is so dry, that they can't risk that because there's been a couple forest fires here, and a couple, but and like they just don't want any more fire going on, so you can't do that. But with all this rain that we're getting, you'll probably have fireworks.
Yeah, so that is one of the very interesting things. That covers up our quarantine and sleep subject. So we are going to end it there. So now on to our next topic. This is food. So this will be about restaurants and reopenings and closings. This is very personal to some people for restaurant owners. So I know that Julia does have some to talk about as she talks at the beginning of every topic. So, Julia, if you don't have anything, it's totally fine, but you can just have anything with restaurants closing. So, Julia, start it up.
I don't really have any experience because both my parents work for a major company. So they don't really work for any businesses. So I don't really have any ties into that or anything.
Yeah, so there's been a lot that has closed, and one of the things that my parents call me an old person. So if you've ever had Bob Evans before, so one of their stores, one of their restaurants closed near me, and it really touched my heart. And small business owners like restaurants, their businesses might have most likely closed because of the COVID-19. And some businesses are lucky enough, like Papa John's, pizza delivery places, fast food, they are able to stay open because they have drive-throughs, delivery services, but they take these COVID-19 regulations seriously because they are a place that is that has to care for food. So it's very interesting, and I'm happy that this happened because there's so much going on with the COVID-19 spreading. So it's a good thing that they're keeping these regulations. Callum, I know that you have stuff to add with restaurants closing near you, probably same as me. So, Callum, you go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. There's not much restaurants around here. I mean, but there is one downtown, and there's literally one restaurant in our town, and yeah, that's been closed. But like I mean, there's other fast food places that I went to. I know me and my dad, like me and my dad sometimes go to a fast food place every once in a while, and I'm gonna say like somewhere like just like all of them. What they do is like they have like a big glass or thing right in front, and there's like a little place to like hand. So like you put down your debit card or your money, and then they take it. Everyone wears a mask, as you know, and there's only like a couple workers in the whole place. The whole building is shut down. I know once we went to like one place and there was only one person working there, and the lobby was closed. So yeah, they've definitely been taking precautions. But like restaurants that you sit down in have been closed. I know that they were starting to reopen, but then like, well, COVID kind of hit again, and now they have to close again.
Yes, and I completely agree with that. And the the glass and plastic covers that you're talking about between the cashier and the customer, the consumer, it's that happens not only in restaurants and fast food places, it's also grocery stores. So that's also hit grocery stores hard, and the food industry has been hard for businesses because there have been I love to listen to podcasts, and not only this one, but there are a lot, and there's this chef that talks, and he said he had an order of $15,000 of food coming for a week in the restaurant, and all that food they couldn't use it because that restaurant closed for COVID-19 regulations. And it's very interesting because that means all that food goes to waste because they can't do anything with it. So, and he can't eat like 1,000 pounds of beef or anything like that. So, but luckily, some restaurants were able to stay open, and some have 100% closed. And there have been multiple businesses go out of business because of this, and not only restaurants, different things. Amazon, it did not go out of business, but and it's probably one of the businesses that are doing the best. I know Tesla is doing very well, and Johnson and Johnson, because those are cleaning supplies and cars. And it's very interesting because the stock prices, they've gone up and down because, and it's pretty much leveled out because businesses do better, businesses do worse. And it's interesting because Amazon is doing very, very well because everybody's ordering things to be delivered, or uh, different UPS, they also have to deliver things because their business is just shipping supplies, and people don't really want to go outside. And Amazon, I know that they have this thing where you can order groceries from Whole Foods because Amazon is the owner of Whole Foods. And Amazon brings you groceries from Whole Foods. So if you need anything, it's interesting, and they'll bring it and deliver it to you. So it's very, very interesting. I know that Juliet has stuff to add, so I will have her talk next.
All right, so there's a company called Instacart that will go in your area and deliver food to you. And so my family has used for the most of this quarantine. And
Yeah, so that's very nice, and it's good that these things have these businesses, Instacart, Uber Eats, and they can bring you food. And one of the industries that are booming in America are those companies that bring you food because that is one of the things that everybody's using. I know Callum has something to add, so Callum.
Yes, onto the business thing instead of the foods. Actually, the best running business right now is actually Zoom, what we're meeting on right now. I mean, when you get it, when you see like on the App Store or wherever you see it, it says #1 in business. And that is, I mean, good for, I'm sure that like businesses like Zoom or that have just like really they've been going the best since they ever have. But also video games, like I saw this video game that had a before quarantine, it had a player count of like 20 million, and now it's over 60 million since quarantine.
Yes, and these online services like Google Meets and Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, and can guarantee if you watch any TV, you have seen a Microsoft Teams ad because they have thousands of ads running every day, and it's hard to miss them. So, and ads have also been a business that has gone. And and Microsoft Teams have premium plans that you can use, and Zoom is specialized for just having talking points. So as you see, we are meeting on Zoom and we can talk. But also, Google Meets is meant for you to talk, but Microsoft Teams, you can actually present things. So on the ads, you can see where you can show pictures and share your screen. On Zoom, you can also do that. But there are a bunch of ads that you recognize that have been going because these companies buy them, and now ad prices have gone up thousands of dollars because the like Fox News, CNBC that actually runs those channels, because you know that those companies want to get out there right now because right now everybody's watching TV. So you want those companies to be seen and then people can look at them. So does anybody else have anything to add?
Yes, a really good podcast is WildFed. If you go on to Spotify, type in WildFed podcast. It's a really great podcast. Also, the host of that is the owner of the tea company, Sir Thrival. So please go check it out. It's very interesting and really good. Go check out WildFed. The link will be in the description.
And I have listened to this one podcast, and it is probably the best podcast ever. JCT Talks. Have you ever heard of that?
oh,
Callum or Julie?
I love that podcast. I love it. I love it.
Best
14
podcast
billion
ever.
subscribers in like 3 weeks. That's insane.
It's crazy. It's amazing. Julia, did you have anything to add before we end this episode?
No, not really. Just subscribe, cause yeah, just do it.
Yeah, this is a great channel. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are growing every day, and we post these amazing videos, and we love to read your comments. So if you have any video ideas or anything, you can send us an email or write it in the comments. So Callum.
Yes, and go check out our Instagram. We will be posting bloopers there. I know we haven't done that already, but we just figured out how to get it all set up. So please go check that. Bloopers will probably be every Wednesday, and other bonus content on our Instagram.
Yes, and please follow our Instagram also. That is very accessible, and it is awesome. So Callum, do you have anything else to add, or are we all good?
Yeah, one more thing. We made a Twitch where me and Jake will sometimes stream every once in a while on a random game. The link will be in the description. That's called JCT Games. It's not, we don't post that much. It's not like a once a week. It might be a once a month thing, but yeah, just go check that out.
Yes, and we will have special guests on JCT Games. And please check out all of our social media things. and we will end this episode here. So thanks for watching.